and thanks for joining us again for another episode of Ask a CFO. This is the weekly Q&A chance we get with my great friend and CEO and founder of Vanreusel Ventures. And I'd like to thank all of you again for all the questions you send in, and I'm really looking forward to get stuck in. So this question here is from Mary in South Dakota. Thank you, Mary, for sending this in. And this is a really good question, James, and they're going to test you again this week. So what are the best finance and accounting tools for the transition from small to medium-sized company? Oh, best of luck with this one. This is really close to my heart as well, because I once was upon a time a solo entrepreneur, if you like, and moved into a larger company. So yeah, this is a good one. So what are the best finance and accounting tools for the transition from a small to medium-sized company, James?
Yeah, this is probably one of the biggest questions or most asked questions that I get just in general, which is the challenge of it's not just what are they, it's also when, so the timing, and I think that the timing is the easiest answer there is when the pain just gets too big, because the jump from a smaller software. And I can name a few of them very quickly. On the accounting side, it's Xero and QuickBooks Online. On HR, maybe it's Gusto and a little bit more sophisticated Rippling. And they are, let's say relatively cheap. You pay a few $1,000s a year just to run them. But then for instance, the accounting software, if you want to take the next jump to a NetSuite or a Sage Intacct, you're going to be paying $30,000. So it's a 10x jump in cost. So the pain has to be pretty big, and the solution needs to unlock a lot of value. The value that would get unlocked because you're paying extra for it is really in not just people time, because you're going to be probably saving at least one extra hire because of all the additional manpower that's needed to run a smaller or a less powerful software with a bigger company. So you'll gain in FTEs, but then I think you'll also gain in your reporting to the management team, to the CEO, to the board, where in the past maybe some of the reports are good on QuickBooks and Xero, but you've always got somebody who's looking at extracting the data and then running their own Excel reports. And a lot of those reports are now incorporated into the software. And so all that time, days and days and days of time every month gets eliminated, basically. So that's the timing, that's the ROI. I belong to a CFO forum. I would say most of the questions that come in are around, I'm looking at 3 to 4 new software to upgrade to. What are people's experiences? Which one should I use? Are there any others? Do you have outside consultants to integrate them into our systems? And that's a big question as well, because it's not just the license fee, it's also the integration that can take 3 to 6 months to do, and you've got to pay outside consultants to help. So that jump is a major jump, and not to be taken lightly. So my recommendation is stick with the easier, the smaller software that is still very powerful and every year continues to be upgraded and gets better and better until you really need to.
Yeah, that's really good advice to be. James, in your experience, I know you said that when the pain gets too great, but have you got in your mind like a revenue threshold or anything like that you think, well, or is it just literally a staffing threshold that you think when you get to this point, look, you really need to be thinking about something else? Or is it, as you said, just honestly, just the pain?
You'll know with the pain, the revenue threshold, it depends on the complexity of the company. You can have $10 million companies that have international operations where the pain gets big really quickly. But you could also have a 20 to 30 million organization that's still, breaking at the seams using QuickBooks, but it's still doable. So it really depends. And it also depends on the ROI. Can you see that dollar return based on that investment you're making? Because it is it's a big decision to make, and the complexity of using the software goes up exponentially. And so just using it is a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, James, you obviously spend a lot of time in a lot of different business sectors and sizes and so on. What do you see in small business? What kind of thing are they using at the moment? Is it as you said, the QuickBooks and the Zeros, or is Sage still there? Those are the things you're talking about. The most small businesses are using at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Or are they still using spreadsheet? Excel or ledgers? I've got a client that I use that still, believe it or not, uses huge ledgers to do his accounts every year.
Not the ones that I work with. I think with there's been a big transition as well to for the startup, the smaller company, to use outsourced bookkeeping. And so I think all these, whether they're individuals or they're firms, immediately they'll start up by saying, great, we have an affiliate relationship with Xero. We're just going to include that into our monthly fee. And so they'll use Xero. And I mentioned Xero and QuickBooks Online. There are others as well. Those I see the most, but it's important to have cloud-based software as well, so that anybody can access anywhere in the world. Once you have a desktop-based software, you need additional software to be able to view it, and it's just not as easy for the outsider or the person who's not the accountant.
I should put a disclaimer in there, James, to be fair, that the client that I was talking about that uses ledgers, in fairness to him, was 80 years old yesterday. So I think he's allowed to do that, to be fair. Maybe the transition to even a Xero would be a little bit too far for Gareth there. But James, an interesting question, just from me really to you, is what's the biggest mistake you see small companies making when it comes to, using whatever tools or system that they use?
Probably trying to use too many tools because it's easy just to take on more and more and more. And Excel and Google Docs and Google Sheets work very well for a lot of things. Because once you set everything up and then all of a sudden, somebody in your team leaves and you have to go in and take them out and put somebody else in, and it takes time. There's all these, there might be paperwork. There's just lots of things that need to change then, but also it's a habit. So I think one of the biggest challenges I hear of and that I've had is using some kind of a CRM. And it can be Salesforce, it can be Asana, it can be any one of those. Just getting people to consistently and habitually input data correctly, input their numbers. Same with time tracking software. It turns into a big compliance exercise, and it's just not a lot of fun for a lot of people.
Yeah, James, I know. I mean, the reason for doing these things is obviously to engage with other business owners and to offer your advice, really. So I'm sure you'd want anybody's experienced some of these things or want some advice. You just wanted to get in touch, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where's the best place to get in touch? Straight direct to you, yeah?
Yeah. You can email me directly, James@vanreuselventures.com.
There we go.